Jedi Fallen Order. At Star Wars Celebration, several gameplay and story details about this game were revealed. And so if you haven't caught up yet, I'll tell you everything that you need to know about this promising game. Fallen Order is being created by Respawn Entertainment and it runs on Unreal Engine 4. It's been in some form of development since 2014, and it's good to know that Respawn are the team who recently brought us Titanfall 1, 2 and Apex Legends, all quality titles in their own right and a great track record. So at its core, this is a Jedi fantasy story game focused on action and adventure, played in third-person perspective and single player only. At a high level, the combat is melee focused with detailed lightsaber mechanics, striking, parrying, dodging, combined with force powers such as wall running, force pulling, pushing and much more. As for when this is set in the Star Wars saga, well, it's after the events of Episode 3 when Palpatine executes Order 66 and demands that all of the remaining Jedi be hunted down and killed. The story is said to be dark but also full of hope and adventure. How is this relevant? Well, in this game you play as a new character going by the name of Cal Kestis. He was a Padawan in training when the Dark Times arrived, but manages to survive and remains undetected and street smart until he is exposed as a potential Jedi and then hunted down, forced to run for survival. The actor Cameron Monaghan, who you may recognise from Gotham, provides full face, motion and voice acting performances to bring Cal to life. Who will you be running from then? Well, primarily Inquisitors. This is the second sister. She is a powerful Force user, super intelligent and will offer up some of the toughest challenges in the game. You might recognise similarities to the seventh sister from Star Wars Rebels. As well as that, your typical stormtroopers will fight you too, but will be taken out in one lightsaber swing, so not much of a challenge unless there's lots of them, which they did say would happen at certain points in the game. I'm quite looking forward to knocking down a group of stormtroopers like they were Skittles. But also you'll be fighting these tough looking guys, and these are called Purge Troopers, and Purge Troopers were the last clones created from the genetic template of Jango Fett, the last lot on the production line, and another new design in the Star Wars universe. Purge Troopers are dispersed around the galaxy to investigate Jedi activity, and they are specifically trained to fight Jedis and are no pushover in melee combat. They'll first go in and soften up the Jedi, but if they need help, they can call on an Inquisitor to arrive. Now Respawn, Lucas and Disney have been planting seeds for these new characters too. For example, the second sister appears in the comic book Darth Vader number 19, and the Purge Troopers fought alongside Darth Vader in the Dark Lord of the Sith 13 during the occupation of Mon Cala. They are pretty bad dudes by all accounts. As the player, it sounds like you'll be up against quite a challenge here. Respawn have said that combat will be easy to pick up, but also if you put time in it, it can be mastered. It's got a lot of depth and they needed it to strike the right balance because combat is key to the game, and they promised that it will be thoughtful, satisfying, and you will have to identify and exploit enemy weaknesses in your targets to defeat them using not only your lightsaber but also with the powers and abilities at your disposal. Interestingly, Respawn said very cryptically that your lightsaber is special in some way and very intimately tied to the story, and as you progress through the game it will grow and evolve. Now in gameplay terms, I'd guess that means that you can modify or upgrade it as you gain experience, maybe changing the functions of it. As Cal, you won't be alone though, and you'll get help from this little guy, BD1, and this is a newly designed droid and Cal's best friend. Throughout the game they learn how to lean on one another. For example, BD1 can light up areas with a spotlight and will have abilities that can be learnt and upgraded. It's a bit of a boy and his dog scenario. And get this, BD1 will have a unique droid voice created with the help of Ben Burt, and he was the original droid soundscape designer for the Star Wars movies. Wrapping things up, I have to say that based on the panel we got, on initial impressions, this all sounds very promising. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see any real gameplay yet, and I'm guessing that will come at EA Play in June. But at the same time, I imagine that with this being a story-heavy game, Respawn don't really want to spoil much of what happens. With that said, I'm getting the feeling that the gameplay here will be a bit of a mix of God of War, Uncharted and Jedi Knight. It seems like an eternity since we've had a decent Star Wars story game, and I played the hell out of the Jedi Knight games when I was a kid. I think Outcast easily had the best lightsaber mechanics of any Star Wars action game. I've been longing for a game like this for ages. Force Unleashed didn't live up to my expectations, and I really want Respawn to knock Jedi Fallen Order out of the park, and I hope they do. The team for this game is headed up by a guy called Stig Asmussen, and he was the game director on God of War 3, which was a stellar action game, but they've also got a core dev team here made up of ex-Uncharted, Batman Arkham, BioShock, Metal Gear, Titanfall, and Call of Duty devs, to name a few. So there's a really high pedigree of developers and talent working on the gameplay and this project. And they've even drafted in the creative talents of Matt Miknovets, who was one of the head writers from the Clone Wars series and Star Wars Rebels. In conclusion, I feel like there's a ton of promise here, and the game will be out November 15th for PC, Xbox and PS4. Not that long to wait really, and it all sounds like it's ticking the right boxes, but ultimately how captivating the gameplay and the story will be is going to be the proof of the pudding. And that's all for today, guys. Do let me know your thoughts down below. What are you thinking of Jedi Fallen Order so far? Perhaps share this video if others are looking for information on the game. If you enjoyed it, give it a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.